up? It's a Wee Natter. I'm Mark Steele, and across the table from me is...
Jenny Steele. We've got to mention, haven't we, Mark, what we've just discovered?
That makes it sound like you've made some real scientific breakthrough or something like that. What have you discovered?
Well, we was in the garage, going to just touch up we've got a bit of bark along our borders, haven't we? So we gets the bag of bark out, and what ran out of the bag of bark? We think it was Mother Mouse, don't we?
It was a field mouse that then went skating over into the field.
Yes. And then in the bark, what was the mark? 4 babies. Now, I don't like mice. They absolutely freak me out. I couldn't deal with it, so Mark had to deal with it. And you know what the shocking thing is?
What?
We've got Sooty. Just didn't even pay attention. I have Oscar that comes round all the time, and he never even noticed. I've now put an advert out on Sooty's page to ask if we could borrow somebody's chief mouser just for the day, just so they can check the rest of the garage out and make sure there's no more in there.
You're talking about cats here, you're not talking about people.
I need a cat, a chief mouser. Okay. So if anybody's got a cat that they want to loan me for the day that's wicked, catching the meesk, I'll treat them to dreamies if they come my way.
But then if you're trying to get the cat to go after whatever field mice might be in there, enticing them with food, you're only going to put them off. So you have to starve the cat and then let it chase because it's after the scran. That's what you got to do.
But they ruined my beautiful autumn wreath. It was all nibbled at.
Well, at least somebody enjoyed it. And on that note, I'm going more positively. We are joining you on the week that a new emoji has been announced.
Oh, yes.
Well, it was announced last week. This show kind of didn't happen last week. But new emoji was announced. What do you think it's for?
It's for the coronation.
Yes, indeed. It is a picture of a purple crown, and it is for a new coronation. And much like the phrase plaited jubes, I don't think it's something we'll be talking about in 10 years' time.
When you say coronation, I think of Ina Sharples, Bet Lynch, that sort of thing. Coronation Street.
Oh, I was looking completely lost there. I'm like, what are you on about? Are you on about the plants? Is somebody connected to the plants for some reason? Thinking about the coronation, it's coming up. It's a couple of weekends away now, isn't it?
I'm only glad because it's a bank holiday.
Yeah, and I'll probably be drunk in my garden trying not to set fire to the fence with a rickety old barbecue.
Yeah.
But that's just any normal Saturday, even in the winter. And on a more positive note, because we're going up from mice to Platitubes Mark II, to the post bag has arrived.
Yeah. Yeah.
And off the back of April Fool's Day, we asked you what your favourite prank was. Slapup's got in touch with the old chestnut of swapping identities with one of your mates. I'm sure there's been films about that sort of thing, sort of like Mind Swap, Freaky Friday type stuff. But anyway, Slapup's been in touch. Swap with one of your mates when you had a new relief teacher in high school. And he still remembers getting a mate detention on one occasion and a high grade on a test.
Oh, wow.
There we go. And I must say, people used to get confused between me and my brother, but we never actually tried to fool them because we weren't twins and it was bad enough already. So we didn't want to add to it on top of that. Age's also been in touch saying changing the CDs into random covers when friends had their collections all sorted chronologically or alphabetically or whatever it was, then suggesting they put one on and just watching their furrowed brows and looks of confusion. I've done that one myself, actually.
Have you?
Yeah. Accidentally, admittedly. Now, never mind doing it to anyone else. And that's my excuse for why my Celine Dion albums were in my Grand Theft Auto 5 case.
Yeah.
And on that note, I think it's time for a Wee Natter. It's amazing how it's the little things in life that wind you up, isn't it? Like me being tall, which means traffic lights are a problem for me. And that's not the reason you're thinking of, I'm walking down the street and I smack into them all the time. That's not the reason for it. It's having to lean out the window because the roof of pretty much any car I've ever been in my life blocks my view of the traffic lights. So if I'm the first car in the queue, I can't actually see the lights unless I'm bending my back into weird shapes or leaning out of the window. And this is genuinely just a tall person issue you never think about, but it's such a little thing.
I'm stressed because I'm normally the passenger.
That's why I get you to shout when it goes green, because I just can't see it. But another one is, and this got worse when I had back problems, why is the world built for small people? Now, I only really this got home to me was because I had a back problem that meant I couldn't bend over, but not without being in excruciating pain. So it then meant hand dryers, kitchen surfaces, and even at the shops, I'm 6'4". Having the bending over was excruciating pain. I got good at semi-squatting when I had to, do any of that sort of thing, which has nothing to do with being on the toilet. Semi-squatting. How about you, Jenny? Are there any small things that wind you up?
Loads of things wind me up. Everything seems to wind me up. And you're always joking about it. Picking the toilet that's got no toilet roll in it. Would you say that was a small thing? You can have a cubicle of 12 and I'll pick one and you'll be guaranteed the one that hasn't got any toilet roll left.
Whoa. So you're saying you don't do the check? So,
No.
when you go to a public toilet, and there's a range of cubicles, and you have to use a cubicle.
Yes.
There's no choice. That is your only option.
And I go in and there isn't any. Another thing is people that say all the time. So when you're listening to when you listen to somebody having on an interview, like on another radio station, and then they can't string a sentence together because every other word is and that really does wind me up. And I don't know if that's a small thing either, because that winds me up as well.
Well, the thing is, almost everyone does that in real life. I do it in real life. I'm sure you do it in real life, Jenny.
What you're supposed to do? Take a pause and think about it, and then it doesn't matter. A little bit of, what do you call it? I don't want to call it dead air, but I went on this training course to do like a presentation, and we were filmed doing our presentation, and most of us did the like that everywhere. And then when you look at it back, you're cringing. And the advice we were given is things like, just take a little bit of a pause, think about what you want to say next. It doesn't matter if you've got that little bit of silence, you're thinking about what's coming next rather than, because you sound like you don't know what you're talking about. If every other word is, I sound like Boris Johnson now, don't I? Am I allowed to say that?
You can say that all you like when we're not regulated at this point, and we're not paying for this. It doesn't come as an election expense or anything like that. So you can, so long as we're not going to get sued, you can say what you like.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, we're
this then.
But what I was going to say is your suggestion is that you stop, you don't say anything, and you have a think. But life would be so boring if everyone did that. There wouldn't be so many arguments in the world. It'd all get very boring. So I'm going to open this up to you, dear listener. What is the small thing that really winds you up? A couple of ways to get in touch on the socials, at Solid Radio UK or at Solid Sooty, or even if you're on Spotify, the question's popped up, you can tap on it, stick your answer in there, and we will share your pain in the next episode.
I've got one more.
Uh-oh.
When you're ringing up a call centre and you get that, your call is important to us, please stay on the line. And you're like, it's not important to you at all. You don't actually care at all whether you talk to me or not. Otherwise, you'd be talking to me. I hate that.
I totally know where you come from. And you're right, the call is not important to the organisation, or they would have actually just spoken to you. And this is the thing. Customer service departments, and this is not me making up a conspiracy or anything like that, customer service departments exist purely because management don't actually want to deal with their customers.
You can never get a manager or supervisor. When you ask for one, they're always in a meeting.
No, of course
fictitious meeting, or they're in a training session.
That's because they might have a supervisor who's scheduling time or whatever. They won't have somebody there to take escalations. The whole point of a customer service department is to isolate management of an organisation from the people that actually have to suffer whatever nonsense they're putting out. That's the whole point behind the customer service department.
But you're important to me. I just want to talk about postage charges. Have you ever had to pay for something because something's been delivered and the person that sent it hasn't paid enough and put enough stamps on, or you go and collect it from somewhere and you've got to pay to collect? I don't mean none of these scams. I mean legit.
Yeah, because you get a notice through the door saying, by the way, somebody's trying to send you something. It's going to cost you another couple of quid on top of whatever postage you didn't pay. Yeah.
I was just chatting to a few friends and I thought, I must mention this on a Wee Natter. I'd had something saying that I had to pay, I think it's about £2 or something to get some piece of mail. And I can't exactly remember what it was, but I remember at the time it was literally junk mail. And I thought, I can't believe I've paid £2 for this. But one of my friends has actually said, well, a couple have actually come back with, they got charged £22 customs fee for 2 bits of plastic from Japan.
Now, it depends what those bits of plastic are. If we're talking like little washers or something like that cost 2p, that's ridiculous. If we're talking like a custom-made part for something that cost $3,000, 22 quid's not too bad for import fees.
Maybe it can't be if they're saying 22 quid's high. But the thing that made me nearly spill my coffee, I made the mistake of having a sip of coffee as I read this next one, and it nearly went all over my dress. Somebody said to me that they once had to pay for a letter telling them they'd been made redundant because the company forgot to pay postage.
Oh.
I mean, it's funny, but it's not. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, companies can be very impersonal when they have to let you go.
Yeah.
If we're I hate to think of things this brutally, but at the end of the day, a job is a transaction, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're paying you for as long as you're delivering a service, and at some point, one of you is going to terminate it. And jobs don't last forever unless you own the company, and even then it might not. But a bit depressing. There are ways of dealing with letting people go.
I'm paying for your own redundancy letter because they forgot to put postage on. I mean...
Yeah, I've been the other side of the table. It's not fun having to let somebody go.
No, but that's...
Trying to do it by letter.
You pay for the privilege of having the letter telling you you've got no job.
Oh, that's just
Don't know what the company was. Obviously, I wouldn't say if I did, but I just thought I'd love to mention this. Just in case that's kind of happened to anybody else, if, they're forked out. And I mean, as I said before, it's legit. I don't mean any of these, you've won £5 million, please send us your bank details so we can pay it in, and you need to pay a £250 administration fee. I'm not talking about anything like that. I'm talking about legit stuff where somebody has either not paid enough postage or, it's fun. Can you top that one?
Well, this is it. My mind is still stuck on somebody being let go that way. Because that's more brutal than the most brutal way I've seen somebody go. And that was, I'm not going to give names away, but we kind of knew there was something on the horizon. Going into the meeting, it was never spoken about out loud, but we knew that a lot of people weren't going to walk out with jobs at the end of it. We kind of knew it was coming. Yeah. But we went into this meeting, there was this presentation, blah, 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 new brand, etc., etc. Bright new future, we don't need half of you, yada, yada, yada. And then they stick this video on, and it had a whole bunch of pop stars of the time talking about how this new venture was going to be amazing, great, da, da, da. And you're sitting there thinking, so wait a minute, you spent a load of money on a marketing video with all these pop stars telling them that all these people are effectively going to look for jobs, but not telling us about it.
That's terrible, isn't
That's it. So effectively, I had colleagues who were fired by JLS.
Oh.
We're
naming the band.
that was just one of the artists. That gives you an idea of the sort of era it happened and just how brutal. But even compared to that, having to pay for your own redundancy letter, that's brutal.
That is brutal.
That is brutal. This is going to sound absolutely mad, but I have come across a conspiracy I actually believe.
Oh.
Think back years ago, like not yesterday, with Easter just passing and all that. What did you used to find in the shops at Easter?
Easter eggs and Cadbury's cream eggs.
Yeah. So I went down the weekend after Easter, even before Easter. What wasn't in the shops?
Cadbury's cream eggs.
Yeah,
and Easter eggs.
They're even gone before Easter now.
That's a shame, that.
Where have they all gone? I mean, you'll hear excuses about modern logistics and data and things like that. But in my head, there are two possibilities for the location of the missing, low-priced, out-of-season chocolate.
Retail outlets.
That's a third option. My first option was they're keeping it for next year.
Yeah.
Just the trick for that would be to look at the best before dates, and if you see it scored out, a new one sharpied on.
Yeah.
But that would be too obvious though, wouldn't it? If you literally pick the egg up
in your hand.
I've seen
it come off in your hand.
Well, if your chocolate looks like it's going grey, it generally means it's a bit old, and to be like, so it'd be too obvious if they did that. The second option is that there's an egg fiend somewhere with a garage full of bargain Easter eggs to pig out on. I may or may not be that person. When you hear the phrase scientists say, what comes to mind?
Something scientific, like the ingredients in a anti-aging cream or a shampoo, something like that.
So you're saying usually followed by something you're like, is that really what scientists said?
8 out of 10 scientists said their cats preferred it.
Yeah, why would the scientists care what their cats said? That's what I'm worried about there. But however, I have been on the internet recently, and scientists say honeybees become blank when shaken vigorously for 60 seconds.
Become blank?
What do you think blank could be? Like the game show Blankety Blank. What do you think blank could be?
I can't say dead then if it's only for 60 seconds. Do they pass out? Do they faint?
They don't pass out. They don't faint.
Lose their... Can't fly.
Lose their buzz isn't too far off. They become pessimistic.
Oh.
I don't know about you, but if I was shaken by a giant, I'd be slightly more than pessimistic afterwards. But this has got me wondering, what is the daftest thing you think we could get research money for? I mean, there's my real project of trying to hack your Wi-Fi through your telly, but that's not daft enough. That's why I'll be putting in a bid to see how many pigeons I need to bribe into lifting me and obtaining the power of flight.
Yeah. I'm talking coffee shops again.
Any particular reason?
Because I was excited because my friend Cheryl Warner, always listens to us on a Wee Natter, always keeps me up to date on what offers Costa's got going on. Always. She never lets me down.
Right, so you're addicted to a specific coffee shop, and it sounds like Cheryl is as well.
Yeah.
And it's quite a popular one. Okay,
yeah.
Following that so far.
So she gives me this message the other day, and it was cake for £1 at Costa on Friday. I thought, I'm in there. I feel a bit sorry for Cheryl because she's literally at work from 4 a.m. till about 4 p.m, and by the time she gets to Costa, there's no lemon drizzle left for her. I do feel really sorry for Cheryl. So I gets in there quite early. I thought I'm having my... Well, I brought a cake, but I bought it for you, didn't I?
Yeah.
So I gets me coffee, gets me cake in a takeaway bag, and I thought I'll have a bit of fun. And either the people... I don't know if you've ever had it happen to you, but either people can't take a joke or they don't actually know you're joking. So the cake counter, it was early in the morning, so it had all the cakes that you could choose from. It's fully stocked. Sent you a quick picture, didn't I? I said, which cake do you want? Very helpful. Mark says, get me anything. I thought, right, okay. So anyway, gets me cake, but I thought, let me have a bit of fun here. So I says to the woman, I said, should you want a cake with your coffee? £1 today? I says, I'll take the lot. And she went, what? I says, I'll take the lot of them. I says, do you deliver? And this woman in the back of the queue, she said to me, very worried look on her face, she says to me, I only wanted a rocky road. I was like, I'm joking, love. She's like, well, serious on her face. Well, I could have took the lot.
Well, if she has been at Greg's,
yeah.
There is always somebody that's buying for the entire building site in front of you, and you will see everything you thought. I quite like one of those disappear right in front of your eyes. So it's not impossible where she's thinking
that's
from.
Heartbreaking when somebody has the last thing and the person in front of you. That happened yesterday, didn't it? Somebody had the last cornflake cake in front of you. And I was just about to order it, and he had the last one. And he made a point of saying it was the last one as well, and I'll have that. And I was like, typical.
But people are like that.
But yeah,
you get over it.
I don't know if she could take a joke, but her little face was well worried. She's like, I only wanted a rocky road. I should have said, don't worry, love, everything in the counter, but minus the rocky road.
Have you heard of Chat GPT?
No. I've heard of Grand GP. No, I haven't actually. I'll say Grand Theft Auto. That's absolutely nothing to do with it, is it?
Chat GPT is an AI you can ask questions or provide prompts to, and it'll write a response. So it's currently doing about 98% of school and university essays at the moment. Does any of this AI stuff you hear about in the news scare you at all?
You see some of these robots that they make, don't you? And they're quite intelligent and seem to know everything about you. I think that could be a little bit... They look scary, actually. I want one of them just wheeling itself into the room, even if it's saying, hi, my name is Savannah. Would you like a cup of tea? I was like, that would freak me right out. Would it not you? Even though, yes, I would like a cup of tea, Savannah. I don't think I would like a robot coming in. They just look freaky.
So you don't want the 1960s style robot bustler?
No, that would freak me out. I mean, they could have a malfunction, couldn't they? And then start poisoning you.
That's quite specific.
I don't know. I don't like it.
But yeah, a lot of people, when they're worrying about AI stuff, it's loss of jobs, which is a genuine worry, especially as, you know, it's across the spectrum. It's not just manual work. There will also be a lot of thinking work that the AI will be taking over. Making decisions that are biased and not always explained. Like there's an AI that he taught to look for cancer in images.
Oh, wow.
So they showed it, here's pictures with cancer, here's pictures without cancer. Turns out it was detecting the ruler in the images. Cancer images tended to have a ruler next to them to show how big the tumour was.
Yeah. Oh. See, that's scary, isn't it?
So AI isn't always the brightest, is it? No. And back to specific AI and Chat GPT. A chap who used it, what do you think he used it for? He's got this AI that can Write any prompt.
Not to do... Could we use it for Wee Natter? No, maybe not. To make an excuse to his boss why he can't come into work today.
That's actually not a bad idea. I'll have a look at it. I'll give it a shot, see what happens. No, he used it to name his kid.
Oh.
I haven't even revealed the name, but how would you feel about a computer algorithm naming a kid?
That'd be interesting. Whether I'd have it or not, I don't know, but be interesting to hear.
So, bear in mind that this was in Hong Kong, so it's not going to come out with British names, but it did come out with a few ideas. And so it's not going to come out with Dave or Barbara, but it did come out with a few ideas. It came up with Zayu, which means wise universe, Mei Feng, which means beautiful mountains, or Mingli, which means understands things.
Oh.
Which doesn't sound too bad, to be honest, does it? No. So I got ChatGPT to name this show. So I thought, you know what, we've got this podcast here. I showed it our description that we put in there. We talk about what the show does and all that.
Yeah.
And I said, give us some titles for this podcast. And here's the titles that came up with. All 10 suggestions. The Steel Breakfast.
Breakfast?
I don't know where it's getting breakfast from, but there we go. Jenny and Mark in the morning.
There's a theme here, isn't there?
Plucky and wifey at breakfast. Heart radio. Yeah, that's what it sounds like to me. Light-hearted matters.
Yeah, I'm liking these so far.
The Daily Steal.
That's good.
We'd have to do it every single day, though. I don't think I could be bothered with that level of effort. No, I don't like you, dear listener, but I think even you would get sick of this every single day. Insignificant issues.
I don't like to be thought of as being insignificant.
Unimportant conversations.
Well, it is unimportant, really, isn't it? Although the Costa wasn't unimportant. I was letting everybody know you can get a cake for £1 on Fridays.
The Steel Show. So it's got along the same sort of lines.
Yeah, but not daily, yeah.
Jenny and Mark's Chit Chat.
I thought you said Jenny and Mark's Chip Shop.
That would be the only chip shop in the country that has more wastage than it actually sells in food. The Not So Important podcast.
No, that sounds like we're not worth listening to.
At least to be honest. And the final one, Spider Song and Snapshots.
What the hell? Where did it get that from? Why has it got the word spider? I'm going to start looking around the room now thinking I'm seeing one.
So out of that list, which one do you want to go for?
Well, it won't be number 10, that's for sure. Having worked in radio studios in the past as well as me, Mark, why do the chairs in the studio not have any wheels? What came into my mind was, if they had wheels, would it be because they thought I would just glide past the mic and miss my link?
I don't even know where you're coming from here.
They don't have wheels, the chairs. You know, like the officey chairs?
Yeah.
They don't have wheels on them. So you can't move your chair around.
I worked in radio studios, admittedly a long time ago now, but we did have office wheelie chairs in there.
What happened there? I think this was hospital radio that I was talking about. I don't think the chairs didn't have any wheels on them. And one of the community stations we worked on, there were no wheels on the chair. So it's quite awkward when you're trying to shufty around to get something.
That was literally because they had a budget of £3.50 in a packet of disco. So, you're reminding me of in my student days, there was a room that we used to borrow to do the student radio stuff and whatnot. And it was a room that had previously been used as a kiln. So it was a tiled floor. And the only chairs we had access to were the ones you used to get in school. And we're all imagining the same thing.
The little tiny ones.
Not the little tiny ones. They were adult size.
Nurseries.
They were adult size, but they were plastic with the metal.
Legs.
Metal legs, yes. So every time you moved, it was ka-chung, 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 with a lot of reverb because it was in this tiled room. So it was like ka-chung, ka-chung, ka-chung. That's genuinely how it used to go down. I'm not making it up.
I just thought it's because they was frightened I would glide past the mic and miss my link, that's all.
Oh, it's entirely possible. Although, could you imagine if that's what we did to politicians?
Hello.
Yeah, it would be a great excuse for them to never give an answer. They would always be gliding past on a wheelie. I'm imagining a brass eye style thing here where you're
donut.
I'm imagining something brass eye style here where they're trying to interview a serious politician and the politician's just constantly wheeling back and forth and back and forth. So
I'd do it on purpose, it sounds fun.
I might have to, see as though I'm starting a mini political career, that might have to be my gimmick, is just constantly wheeling back and forth. Even if we're like getting interviewed in the middle of nowhere, like in a field, just trying to sludge around in the mud in a wheelie chair so they can't actually catch me and interview me.
Would you have a smile on your face as you were doing it?
Well, yeah. At the end of the day, if you're shouting at the top of your lungs, "You can't catch me, I can't give you an answer," you're going to have a bit of fun with it, aren't you?
Yeah.
That was unfortunately Wee Natter. I was Mark Steele, and across the table from me was
Jenny Steele.
And we're going to ask you to do one little thing, dear listener. In fact, we're going to ask you to do two things. If you have not subscribed, hit the subscribe button in your podcatcher of choice.
Yeah.
And you will get this fine podcast every single time it gets released, straight to your ears. Where else would you want it? I'm trying to think now. Where else would you want a podcast? It's only into your ears, isn't it?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, you're not going to put it out on your dinner plate. It wouldn't fill you up, would it?
Serve up a Wee Natter. There you go.
Oh, that's an option.
Yeah.
The other one is that in the run-up to the local elections, especially if you're in Englandshire, there may be canvassers chapping on your door going, would you kindly vote for us, blah, blah, blah. So what you need to do is go, hold on a minute, I've got a message for you. Tune into Wee Natter podcast.
Yeah.
Or whatever your podcast app is. Do that, and you'll be spreading the love. That's how you got to view it. And on that note, we'll catch you next time.
Next time.